We now have chilling insight into the final moments of the doomed cargo ship El Faro. It sank last year in Hurricane Joaquin.
All 33 crew members were killed, including 2 local men.
Insane. Captain steers ship straight into a hurricane. Not the smartest move. The tragic tale of the El Faro, a cargo ship that met its end in the jaws of Hurricane Joaquin in 2015, is a chilling reminder that Mother Nature doesn't take kindly to being underestimated. As the ship vanished off the coast of the Bahamas, taking all 33 crew members with it, questions about the captain's decisions and the ship's condition surfaced, revealing a cascade of errors that sealed its fate. This is Horror Funk Town, the type of creepy YouTube channel you love to watch at 3 a.m. Let's get started. Setting sail into the eye of the storm. It all began on September 29, 2015, when the El Faro set sail from Jacksonville, Florida, en route to San Juan, Puerto Rico. Laden with 11,000 tons of cargo, including trailers, cars, and crucial supplies, the ship embarked on what was supposed to be a routine voyage, but this journey would be anything but routine. Just hours before departure, the U.S. National Hurricane Center issued a warning about Tropical Storm Joaquin, which was expected to strengthen into a hurricane. Captain Michael Davidson, however, shrugged it off like someone ignoring a small ant infestation in their kitchen. Harmless, right? Having navigated through storms before, he believed Joaquin would veer north, sparing the El Faro from its wrath. Spoiler alert, it didn't. As the ship sailed into increasingly rough seas, the crew's anxiety grew. The morning after departure, the sky turned a menacing red, an old sailor's warning that bad weather was on the way. Yet, Captain Davidson reassured his crew that everything would be fine, adjusting the ship's course slightly, but still steering them perilously close to the storm's path. Clearly, nothing screams confidence like charging straight into the abyss and hoping for the best, ignoring the writing on the wall. By the evening of September 30th, Hurricane Joaquin had intensified into a Category 3 storm with winds reaching 105 knots, 120 miles per hour. The El Faro, now directly in its path, was battling waves over 20 feet high. Despite the worsening conditions, Captain Davidson held firm to his course, confident that the ship could handle the storm. After all, what's a little wind and water when you've got a steel behemoth under your feet? It's not like metal rusts or anything. However, things began to unravel quickly. The ship's anemometer, which measures wind speed, was broken. Because who really needs to know how fast a hurricane is tearing you apart? Without this critical information, the crew was flying blind, unable to gauge just how dire their situation was. It's like going on a blind date with a tornado. You might get lucky, but odds are you'll end up with a disaster. The ship's speed began to drop as the storm intensified, and by the early hours of October 1st, the El Faro was listing heavily to starboard. Water started flooding the cargo hold through a scuttle, a small hatch that had been left open. This was a problem that could have been fixed, but the engineers were already overwhelmed trying to keep the engine running as it choked on underfilled oil reserves. Captain Davidson, still confident in his ship's ability to weather the storm, remained in his cabin, probably wishing he'd packed a snorkel. The final hours. At around 5 a.m., the situation aboard the El Faro had reached a critical point. The ship was now listing at a terrifying 18 degrees, and the crew was struggling to maintain control. The engine room was flooding, and the ship's speed had dropped to a crawl. Realizing that they were in serious trouble, Captain Davidson finally made his way to the bridge, but it was too late. The El Faro had lost propulsion, and the hurricane's winds were now pushing it helplessly through the ocean. The captain ordered the crew to prepare to abandon ship, but the situation was already beyond saving. Lifeboats on the port side were submerged, and those on the starboard side were rendered useless by the ship's severe list. In a cruel twist of irony, the only life-saving equipment they needed was a miracle. At 7:13 a.m., the captain sent a distress call to Tote Maritime, the company that owned the El Faro, calmly reporting their dire situation. His final words to the crew were, "It's only going to get better from here." Unfortunately, it didn't. Minutes later, the El Faro was overwhelmed by the sea, and the ship, along with its crew, vanished beneath the waves. Who knew that getting better actually meant getting wetter? The aftermath, searching for answers. The loss of the El Faro shocked the maritime community and prompted a massive search and rescue operation. Over the following days, debris and life rings from the ship were found, but there were no signs of survivors. It wasn't until a year later that the ship's voyage data recorder, VDR, was recovered, providing crucial insights into the final moments before the disaster. They probably wished it had just said, "Turn back, you idiots." The investigation into the sinking of the El Faro revealed a series of alarming issues. The ship, originally built in 1975, had undergone multiple modifications over the years, each time increasing its weight and raising its center of gravity. Despite these changes, the Coast Guard did not classify them as major conversions, which would have required a full reassessment of the ship's stability. In short, El Faro was an aging vessel, poorly equipped to handle the severe conditions it faced. It's like putting a band-aid on a bullet wound and hoping for the best. Additionally, Captain Davidson's decision-making came under heavy scrutiny. The investigation suggested that he was under pressure to reach San Juan on time, possibly due to concerns about his job security and a desire to prove himself worthy of commanding one of Tote's newer vessels. His confidence, or perhaps overconfidence, in the ship's ability to withstand the storm led him to make decisions that ultimately doomed the El Faro and its crew. A legacy of lessons. The sinking of the El Faro is a tragic reminder of the importance of respecting the power of nature and the need for vigilance in maritime operations. The disaster led to changes in safety regulations and highlighted the dangers of operating outdated vessels in challenging conditions. In the end, all 33 crew members aboard the El Faro were declared missing and presumed dead. Tote Maritime settled wrongful death lawsuits with the families of the victims, avoiding a trial that might have exposed further details of the company's negligence. While the El Faro is now resting at the bottom of the Atlantic, its story serves as a cautionary tale for the maritime industry. The sea is unforgiving, and in the battle between man and nature, it's often nature that wins. At least Captain Davidson can rest easy, knowing that he steered his ship straight into maritime history as an example of what not to do. If you found this story both tragic and captivating, dive deeper into the mysteries of the ocean and the dark side of human decisions with Horror Funktown. From nautical disasters to the unexplained, we bring you tales that will keep you on the edge of your seat. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell to never miss an episode.